If you're watching this, you've probably already built something real. The business is moving, people respect what you've done. By every external measure, you're winning. But there's a version of you that you know you haven't become yet. And no matter how much you produce or how fast you move, that gap doesn't close on its own. You keep going because stopping or slowing down feels dangerous. Slowing down to actually look at what's underneath feels like a threat to the progress you've made. So you stay busy, you stay in motion, and that gap between who you are and who you're meant to be stays there. That's not an ambition problem. It's not a strategy problem. It's an internal problem. And most high performers never deal with it. Not because they can't, but because they've never had a real process for doing so. That's exactly what this is. My name is Clinton, and I help high performers close the gap between who they are and who they're meant to be. Before I walk you through the process, I want to be clear who this is for. This isn't for someone who's just getting started. This is for entrepreneurs, executives, and athletes. People who are already operating at a high level and know there's still another gear they haven't hit yet. The one thing they all have in common, they're done leaving their real potential on the table. If that's you, keep watching. Here's the foundational belief behind everything I do. You already have everything you need to become who you want to be. The work isn't about adding more information, more strategies, more systems. The work is about removing the wall between who you are now and who you're capable of being. Most coaching gives you more frameworks, more tactics. This process does the opposite. It removes what's in the way of what you already know, because the answers aren't missing. They're buried beneath patterns you've never named, decisions you've been avoiding, and a version of yourself you haven't fully committed to being. That's the work, and it's broken into 3 phases across 12 weeks. Let me show you what I mean. Most high performers I work with come in with the same 3 things going on. The first, they keep moving, but the internal work never gets done. Stopping long enough to face what's underneath feels like a threat to the progress they've made, and so they never stop. The second, they've outrun their own identity. The external success is real, the accolades, the trophies, the money, but privately, they know the person behind that success hasn't caught up yet. And third, they mostly already know what's holding them back. They've known for a long time. What's missing is someone who can hold up the mirror, call it what it is, and build a real plan around what they see. That's exactly what this process is designed to do. 12 weeks, 3 phases, 1 session per week. The first phase is discovery. Phase 2 is decision making, and phase 3 is deliberate growth. Each phase builds on the last, and the order matters because what most people get wrong is trying to install new habits and systems before they've done the deep identity work that makes those habits actually stick. Let me walk you through each one. Phase 1 is discovery, weeks 1 through 4. This is the phase most people have never actually done, not because it's complicated, but because it requires a level of honesty and vulnerability that you're not used to when all you do is just execute, execute, execute. Week 1, we audit who you actually are right now, not who you think you should be, not the version you present to the world, who you actually are. The patterns, the defaults, the moments where you show up as someone you don't fully respect. Week 2, we look at what you actually stand for, your values, and more importantly, where those values show up in your decision making and where they don't. Week 3, we examine the stories you're telling about the people around you, your team, your partner, your relationships, because the stories you carry about other people say more about where you're stuck than almost anything else. In week 4, we actually look at how other people experience you, how you show up in a room, where your communication is creating distance rather than connection, and whether the person people see actually matches the person you believe you are. By the end of phase 1, you'll know exactly what we're working with, an honest, clear picture of who you are and what exactly is in the way. Phase 2 is all about decision making. This is weeks 5 through 8. And this is where most coaching programs stop. They stop at awareness. They help you understand yourself better and just leave you there. But that's not what we do. We take what we learned and create better decisions from them. It's about taking everything we surfaced in phase 1 and turning it into action. Week 5, we go after the blind spots, the patterns that have been quietly capping your growth that you've been too busy to fully confront. This is usually the most uncomfortable week, but also one of the most productive. Week 6, we look at how you actually make decisions, what drives them, what slows them down, and where fear or ego has been running the show. We take the decisions you've been sitting on and we make them. Week 7, we get honest about what actually matters to you, where your time and energy is really going, what you're sacrificing that you've been telling yourself is temporary, but it's quietly become permanent. And week 8 is the commitment session. You stop analyzing and declare what changes, specific behaviors, real accountability. And phase 3 is deliberate growth, weeks 9 through 12. Here's what makes this phase different from every habit and productivity system you've ever tried. The habits and systems we build aren't random. They're not generalized best practices pulled from a book. They are specific to you, built directly from what we've learned about who you are in phase 1 and anchored to the decisions you've made and committed to in phase 2. By the time we get here, you're not fighting yourself anymore. because the person building these habits has already decided who they are. Week 9, we design the systems that actually hold you, routines, environments, and structures that make your commitments easier to hold than to break. Week 10, we stress test the new identity. How do you hold the standard when things get hard? Because who you are under pressure is the only version of you that actually counts. Week 11, we consolidate. We name the shift out loud, and we document the evidence that the growth is real, and we make sure it doesn't quietly disappear when the program ends. In week 12, we close. We look at who you were on week 1 and who you are now, and we map out what comes next. So what actually changes for you after 12 weeks? You know exactly who you are, and you operate from that place. No more performing a version of yourself that just doesn't fit. You've done what most people won't do. Looked honestly at who you are and changed what needed to change. You have systems built around who you actually are. These aren't generic habits or systems. They're structures built around your new identity and your new ability to commit to and make decisions. You make decisions quickly and confidently, and the gap is finally closed. You're no longer chasing the high performer you wish you could be. You are one. If this is speaking to you, the next step is simple. In the description, you'll find a link to an application. I work with a limited number of people at a time, not because of some artificial scarcity play, but because this process requires real attention and real investment from both of us. And I'm not interested in doing it halfway. If you're ready to close that gap, apply. I'll be in touch soon.